Sat Sri Akal Ji, Namaste, and hello everybody. This is Meenu, your host from BMQ Podcast, and today we've got a very special guest. This is someone who's given us UK Bhangra anthems from Gama to American Juggling, and more recently his latest track, Still Yours. And what makes it even more interesting is that he's not just an artist, he's a lawyer, balancing two completely different worlds. So we're going to get into everything, the music, the journey, the identity, and I want to welcome Bikram Singh.
Thank
Hello.
you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's an absolute honour to have you, especially for someone like me who really loves listening to your music, and I did in my younger days more so as well. So thank you so much. It's a real honour to have you on BMQ.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm going to get right into it, Bikramji, and ask you, how did your journey of music start?
Ah, it's so long ago. Um, I had always been interested in writing since since my younger days in high school and getting into college. Um, and I had put together a demo tape with the help of my brother, who was a very tech guy, and
Yeah.
it was like two or three songs, just random Bolian tracks, and we just put it up on a website, and we just sent out the link to Tiger Style and a bunch of other producers, and Tiger Style was the first group that got back to me. And at that time, I was also doing small shows and small gigs, and I was building up my name at the time, and it just so happened that the day that Tiger Style had a show in Washington D.C. was the day
Yeah.
that I was performing there as well. Um,
Okay.
and they got back to me and they were like, "Well, we're going to be in DC. Are you close by?" And I said, "I'm actually going to be there." So
Amazing.
um, yeah, and right after the show, the next day we got together at their hotel, and we spoke, and they told me that we're going to bring you down to Glasgow, and we're going to record your first album.
Wow.
And that's where it basically started. And um, they signed me for three albums, and the rest is basically history. And I just had such an incredible time, working on music together with them and in the studio, and it's just incredible time making music during those days, and just I'm just very, very grateful to be
So was
part of that show.
music always the plan, or did you actually like fall into it at the time?
I was always interested in singing and writing, and I whenever I was in the car, or at parties or whatever, I would just sing along to Malkeet Singh and whoever
Mhm.
was popular, Harpajan Man and Kuldeep Manak,
Yeah.
Sunil, all these guys, and I just and the friends that are around you, sometimes they give you false hope, but sometimes they actually you know give you some positive, hopeful
No,
comments. And
you're
my
amazing.
friends were like, "Well, you sound pretty decent, man. Maybe you should pursue this." And I was like, "All right, well, maybe I'll give it a shot." And
Are
Kama
you
was
the
actually, I'm
sorry,
sorry.
are you the only, sorry, there's a bit of a lag. Are you the only person in your family that sings, or is it like sort of, are you a musical family, or just you?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, yeah, I am the only one. I am the only one in my family. Although I have to say that I think my grandfather had an amazing voice, but he never pursued it. Um, And other people in my family, my cousins, they have pretty good voices, but no one really pursued it to the extent that I did. I was the first one basically in my family. So yeah, I used to listen to all these legendary singers, and I used to sing
Mhm.
along, and my friends around me were saying that you sound pretty decent. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So
I'm so glad you did.
that's I did, yeah,
So
yeah, and it worked out.
it definitely did. If we go back into sort of when you first got into maybe Garma, for example, what was the story behind it and how did that happen?
Um, that was around the time that I was working. I was actually working on putting an album together, and I knew that I wanted a love song together. And I don't know, it just sometimes it just happens. Sometimes these ideas come to your mind about two separated lovers and how they're longing for each other, and the circumstances are not ideal for them to be together. So I, I was in the house and I went out for a walk, and just within like an hour, I had the entire song written, my part as well as Gunjan's parts, and
Hmm.
uh, and then then that part was done. The next part was basically talking to Tiger Style about like who we're gonna have, who's gonna come and sing the female part.
Yeah.
And I think at that time they were in touch with Gunjan, um, and she sang it and she really enjoyed it, and I sang my part, and it just came out to be really, 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 really good track. Um,
When you were creating that
and
track back then, did you realize how huge of an anthem you were creating?
no, no, I did not know that at all. And the thing is, it- you know, I was watching Karan Aujla's podcast. I think it was, interview or whatever. He was saying that sometimes, as an artist, you just make art. You just continue
Yeah,
making art. You just work. You don't think about like hits or not hits. It's whatever feels right. You
yeah,
just
you
do
got
it,
what you got. Yeah,
right? You just your job is to make music, and then that's what you do. You just go out and do what you do, do what you do. The rest is, as long as you do it with honesty and integrity and love and passion and, all those things, people will see that. People will see that through.
it definitely
That's
was
what it was
transparent.
with me. When I made that album, it was just, it was just being me, just, letting it all out. Just having a good time, just writing and just singing and creating. And I was not, thinking about making a mark in the history. I wasn't thinking about, how
Mm,
legendary this track is going to be. I wasn't thinking about how famous I was going to be. I didn't really care about any of that stuff. It was
yeah,
more like, I just loved the music, and I just loved creating, and that's stuck with me.
it's amazing what you've created because even now, I mean, I still play it in my car when I'm driving. My daughter, who's 16 years old, knows every single word to that song. It still sounds so relevant.
Yeah.
Like it still sounds so fresh. So thank you for creating such a lovely melody and such a beautiful song. Um, American Juggling was a completely different vibe to Kava. How did that come about?
That was, I was in DC, not for that the initial time when I met Tiger Style, but subsequently I was there, and I was at a gig. I was performing there, and this is the time when a lot of the Gore people were getting into Bhangra and
Yeah.
Desi music and all that kind of stuff. So I think there was like this white girl was dancing in front of me, and and I think that idea really came from, that she was really into that Punjabi or like Indian culture
I see
where,
what you mean now. Yeah.
yeah, she was like, she's I was performing and she was right there in front of me and she was going at it. And I think that the American Jugni idea came from from
That's
that
the
instance.
American chutney.
And I and we needed songs at the time, and I was talking to Tiger Style like, listen, man, we need material, we need music, we need to create, and that's what came to my mind when I wrote American Jugni, and we ended up naming the album American Jugni.
Wow. And
Yeah.
as part of that, also you had songs like Nachna, Gal Sunja. Is there any personal favourites from your earlier work?
There's all of them are my favorite. I created them, so I would not create them if I didn't feel love for them. For all the tracks that I did create. But there's a one track that the two tracks that I really like. That I could listen to it. That you know nonstop. One of this, one of them is Pabimunda Lambadanda and Sada Dil Todi Na. From American
Okay.
Junior.
Two extremes.
Yeah, those two tracks I really, they're close
Well,
to my
why?
heart.
What's so special about them? Why is it that they stand out?
Because I think it is the the innocence in the lyrics and the
Hmm.
way in the composition comes in and the way the music is done. Everything kind of comes together really, really well. Um,
Okay.
so I think it's just a combination of all of those things coming together, and just the innocence of the lyrics in both of these songs. That's why I really, they're very close to my heart, along with a lot of other tracks, obviously.
You actually did a song with my cousin's sister, believe it or not. It was called Ikjindri. Ishmeet
Oh
River.
yeah, yeah, with Ishmeet.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes,
yes.
yes,
So
yes,
that's one of
yes.
my personal favourites, for obviously for biased reasons.
Awesome, awesome. That was fun time. That was later on in
It
my
was,
career, but
it was. What year was that? Was
uh,
it 2013? 14,
I
13,
think
14?
it may have been around 2013,
Yeah,
2014, maybe 2013, around that time. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yeah,
because I think there was a little bit of a gap in between, wasn't there? And then it was like, okay, Bikram is back with the UK style again.
yeah, yeah. That was with DDS VK.
That's it.
He's the one
That's it.
who
That's
produced
it.
it.
Yeah, it was a
That
very
was,
beautiful track as well.
that was actually. I think that was Ishmeet's first song. I
What was it? I can't remember.
think so.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Well,
so.
what a wonderful
Well,
collaboration to have in your first song. I'm sure she'll put
I,
me right.
I, I'm, I'm proud to say that I started a lot of people's careers. You know, in fact, I was the first person that Prophecy collaborated with, and he actually
Oh,
says it in
really?
his intro as well. Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's amazing. He's also one of a very talented man. I think he's very similar to you in the sense he's very dilwala person. I don't know how to explain it. So when
he is.
he
Yeah,
gone,
one thing that I really like about him is that um, he's all about work. You will not see any drama with him. You don't see any controversy with him. He puts his head down and it just works and makes
yeah,
music and does an incredible job doing it. So, shout out to him.
absolutely. I want to now fast forward to today. So the reason I contacted you was Still Yours.
Hmm.
When I heard that
Yeah.
song, it took me back. It took me back to Ghana days, and I haven't heard that sound in such a long
Mhm.
time, and it was just so beautiful. And I had to contact you, and that's what I did. So tell me how this happened. What was the journey behind this? How did we have Still Yours, Rama Rama?
Um, the first one the common was in 2005, 2006, around that time, and then after 10 years we did common two. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason we did common two was because of you know obviously because of the success of common one, but it was just so much love that was coming from people. Um, a lot of people reaching out and they wanted part two, and they wanted us to get together and do that. Along with Tiger Style. It's the same thing. I mean, after all these years, and people still talk about Common One and Common Two, and they were like, when are you guys getting together and doing something together again? It was just so many messages that were coming from people, and I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll do one more. So I reached out to Tiger Style, and I said, well, look, I'm getting a lot of these messages. I've been bombarded with so many people asking if there's a way for us to kind of come together one last time to create this finale to this track. Um, and um, you know, it was tough in the beginning, but I got them out of retirement, and I got them on board. And then it was working on Gunjan. I reached out to her and I said, "Look, I would love to do this one last track, one last version of this track, and it would be really nice if you would be on board." And she was kind enough to do that. She said, "Well, let's work on it together." And Haji Sidhu is the one who worked on the lyrics on this track. I got him on board, and I told him this is what the context is. This is what the lyrics should be like, and we kind of all worked together to put it together. And we had Gunjan do her vocals in North Carolina. Tiger Style did the production in Glasgow. I did the vocals here in New York, and Haji Sidhu from Toronto, he did the lyrics there. So it's kind of like a international affair where all these artists, everyone came together, and we created this track. And it was, to be honest, it was a lot of work. It's easy for people to say, it's all right, it's good, it's bad, it's easy for people to criticize, but there's a lot of work that went into this. And then, not to mention, flying out to Toronto to shoot the video. So we got the video done there, and it was a lot of work. And that's how, essentially, to answer your question, the reason we did this was because of all the love that people, were sending us, and we just wanted to gift this to the people. And this is probably is going to be the last version. We're not, we're not
Say
you
that.
know,
We want one more.
I don't know. I think, but yeah, it really was because of the love of the people that we came
Yeah.
together, and and put this all together for people.
Thank
Um, but it was a lot of fun. It was just an incredible time working with these amazing artists again. And I'm just so glad that we were able to complete this and put it out for people to listen to and love.
How long did it take to create this? And obviously being in different areas of the world, how long did it
Yeah.
all take?
So, it would not have taken a long time if it wasn't for everyone's busy schedules.
Mm.
But I think all in all, it took more than a year for everyone to do
Okay.
their part. And, together with the video, I think like a year and a half,
It's a
maybe a little bit
beautiful
longer.
it's a
Yeah.
beautiful video.
Yeah. Yeah. But, it's, it was fun. It was a lot of fun working on this together. And, just wanted to give something to the people who've shown me so much love throughout the years. And, I'm just so grateful for their love and appreciation.
It feels a lot more mature as well, still yours, and more emotional. Was that
Well,
intentional?
we're old now, so
You feel it more. No, no, you don't look old. But was that intentional, or did that just naturally come through?
I think it was natural.
Yeah,
I think it was just natural. It was not. I was not trying to portray anything that I'm not. You know.
yeah.
Um, Everything was just natural. Everything just we even if you watch the video, it's very simple. It's nothing crazy
It's
going on there. It's just very
But it's
classy.
nice.
Very
It's nice not to
yeah.
see cars, girls, guns. It's just so refreshing to see, some women sitting there beautifully focusing on their singing. It's just very simply but beautifully presented. So thank you for that.
Right, of course. And I wanted, obviously, I wanted to have Gunjan in the video, which I did. And
Mm.
she was very grateful. She was very nice and very appreciative. And she's just an incredible artist and a human being. It's just, I'm just very grateful and lucky to be working with her.
So where did you shoot the video? Did you have to travel for the video, or how did that
Yeah,
happen?
we shot the video in Toronto, in
Okay,
Canada. Yeah, we were
amazing.
there for like it's so funny because we booked actually 4 days to shoot the video, but we were done in two because it's just everything
Really?
so well. I was like, all right, two
Two,
days to party.
2 days
Let
of
me
kumi kumi. No, that's amazing. That's how great you guys are, I guess. Now I just wanted to talk about you as a person as well, if that's okay. I want to dig deeper. So, obviously, when we first saw you on the screen, you looked different. Okay? Now you look different. So, what was that shift to now wearing a turban and having a pagri and dari and so forth? What changed?
That's a good question, and you know, my family, my grandparents, my uncles, for the most part, everyone had pug. Everyone wore pug for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my dad is an Amatari. My mom was an Amatari, and
Oh, really? Okay.
I, I cut my hair um, in I think it was early high school days, long time ago, and I didn't keep it until 2015 or 2016, around that time. And the reason,
Okay.
was for that. The reason was that when my son was born, and
Right.
I, I, I would not have the heart to cut his hair when he was born. And my dad said that to me at the time. He was like, "Don't you dare touch his hair." And I
Hmm.
said, "Well, if he's going to keep his hair, then I'm going to keep my hair too.
That's
You
so
can't
amazing.
have it. You can't have, you can't have your son keep hair and then you don't keep it. Well, what kind of example are you leading by?"
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was the turning point for me. And I started growing my hair, and I started wearing pug uh, to work. I started wearing pug to, I'm an attorney as well, so I go to court.
Mm-hmm.
I started
Mm-hmm.
wearing my pug in court. And I tell you that when I was when I started wearing my pug and I was going to court,
Angie.
I was getting so much respect from court officers, from other attorneys, my colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
my adversaries, the judges, and I was like, whoa, this is, they just see you, they perceive you differently. They see you as, someone, someone who's spiritual, someone you can trust, someone who's not lying, someone who is, you know, someone with integrity. I'm not saying that anyone who's, is not wearing like
No,
is
no,
doesn't.
but it's a crown at the end of the day, so it makes a massive difference. I'll tell you a personal story. So my father-in-law um, lives in America, funny enough, and he does a lot of walking. So when he walks up and down in where we live in the West Midlands,
Yeah,
one day he didn't wear a buggery and he just went for a walk. The next day he wore a buggery, and he said people were talking to me, people were smiling at me, people wanted to have a conversation with me, and that's the power. And I can imagine what you're saying is true. So that's no
yeah,
disrespect to anybody who doesn't wear a buggery, but I understand.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, look, the thing is, there's always that fear of discrimination and stereotype and all that kind of stuff. Racism and all that stuff. I don't believe in victim mentality. This is your crown. You wear it with pride, and you know, and you represent. You do what you have to do. I I have not been, honestly. I haven't been, stereotyped or you know. I'll tell you a funny story. Do we have time?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I think there was only one time that I kind of it was a I guess you could say racially profiled, but I think it was pretty funny that I kind of laughed it off.
Yeah.
I I drive my car to a train station, okay, and that train station takes me to the city where where the court is. Okay.
Mhm.
There was one time I drove my car to the train station, and you could actually see the platform near the parking lot. And I was pulling up, and I saw this white lady, standing there, and and I and there was a big sign that says rail service suspended. So,
Okay.
but I was like, well, rail service suspended, but I see people on the train
Standing.
track on the platform. So I just
Mhm.
wanted to make sure, if the rail service was suspended. So I pulled up right next to her, and I was like, is the rail service really suspended? She doesn't pay attention. She opens the door and proceeds to sit in the back seat of the car.
Okay.
I looked back and I'm like, hey, lady, what are you doing? She goes, wait, you're not my Uber?
Oh no. Did you drive her?
So, and mind you, I'm wearing a suit, okay? And I'm driving a Porsche.
It's a very, very established service then.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. But if you had that victim
Yeah.
mentality,
Mm.
you would be like, oh man, that's so racist. And
Mm.
sometimes you just gotta laugh at their ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not all that serious. It's
No.
not. It's not. You just you do what you do. You live your life, with integrity. And this is my crown, and I'm very proud of it. And thank God for giving me a son that that cherishes his patka and loves his patka. He loves the fact that I wear the pug now, and I'm very proud of him, and I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I really hope Babaji remains Dade Aung Sung and you forever have this crown. It's funny that you say this. Obviously, we have a lot of international people in England that have travelled from India and so forth. And I see all the time there is couples who obviously there's guys that have actually cut their hair, but their children have batke and they've kept their hair. And I think it's beautiful that they're carrying that tradition on, but I do find it sometimes, I don't know what the word is without offending anybody, but I'm thinking, you've cut your hair yourself, but you expect your child to carry on the tradition. But then I like the fact that you had that turning point and
Mhm.
you were like, no, if my son's doing this, then I'm doing this too.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah,
Couldn't. I just could not. I could not look at myself in the mirror and have him keep the patka.
yeah.
And I would not have the courage to cut his hair. I would not. I
No,
couldn't.
no, no.
You know.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing something so personal. I do
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. I wish I had that kind of mentality and brain when I was little.
Mm,
When I got there, but the idea is that you learn over the years as you grow
exactly.
older. You learn,
Grow
and
and you learn.
yeah, and you own your mistakes, and you can't fault your younger self either, because you're a product of your environment.
Yeah.
You are where you are. You're not with, and you're growing with, and all that. So you can't really fault yourself either. But to the extent that you can learn from your mistakes, you should.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned something that I was going to mention in my second part was so you are an attorney, so a lawyer in our
Hmm.
terms. So, how do you balance both of your careers and what came first?
Music came first. Music
Okay.
definitely came first. Um, music. I think my first album was released in 2006,
Hmm.
2005 to late 2005, early 2006, and I had always, been interested in the legal profession as well, and I just, you know, with law degree, you could do so many different things. It's just, when you go to law school, they make you think like a lawyer. You don't learn the
Yeah.
law or anything. It's the way they program your brain to think. And I always found that very fascinating.
Mhm.
And um, and also kind of, I had this foresight, like if I am going to be pursuing music full time, I'm going to be traveling a lot. I don't know how that's going to be affecting my family life, whether or not I'm going to have time for my kids, my wife.
Yeah.
All of those things were playing in my head. And since I had this interest of legal profession or law, I started studying for my LSAT. There's the law school admission
Okay.
exam around 2000. 5, I think it was five,
Okay.
6, and I ended up getting to law school, and I was like, all right, well, let's see if I can keep up
Yeah.
with two different things, and I did well in music uh, because I had this pressure of law school, right? I was
Mhm.
pressured that I have to do so well,
Yeah.
in law, but at the same time, I was like, all right, well, I also have to do well in this. So it's vice versa. It's a pressure from both
Yeah.
sides.
The expectation was there for both things.
Yeah, and what that does, it makes you work even harder than other people. You know, um, I did really well in law school too because I had this pressure from music because I was traveling all the time, and I'm like, all these people that are sitting in the library studying,
Yeah.
you know, they're not doing what I'm doing. They're not traveling. They're not doing shows, and they're not flying out to different countries.
Yeah.
So I have to work extra hard, right? And when I say extra hard, I was even working harder than these guys, that were basically full-time law students.
Yeah.
So I, it, it was good in a sense because, law school can get very lonely. And this was my way of kind of getting out of that atmosphere and zone and um, having to travel and meeting different people and singing and enjoying other people's company and just having a good time. And, it kind of gave me a really good balance between, this very lonely life and that fun life. So it was a good balance. It is challenging, even now, my firm is, we're pretty decent size. I mean, not decent size in the sense that a lot of people, but we have a lot of cases, and it's my wife and I, and then we have other people that work for us. But it really is challenging. It's challenging, but it's just you have to understand. It's just the passion, the love that I have for music and art
For both.
of projecting folk. That the love that I have, it will not let me get away, no matter what I do. Whether I'm running a Fortune 500 company or whether I'm running this law firm, it could be anything. It will not let me get away. So,
That's
uh,
really good to hear because when we normally talk to artists or hear podcasts or other people's interviews, it's usually one or the other. I did
yeah.
this, and now I'm doing this, or I chose music. But you are when you're talking, you're sounding very passionate about both of these things, and that's really really nice to hear that you have that perseverance and commitment towards
Mhm.
both.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, you could do this in a half-ass way. Excuse my language,
Yeah, yeah,
but if you're gonna do it proper. Do it
yeah,
with passion, do it with love, because now, I'm not doing it for fame or recognition. Or in fact, I'm not even doing it for money. I'm not. I'm doing it for to create memories,
yeah.
to uh, to create a legacy. So when I'm gone, my songs are still playing for my kids and my grandkids to listen to. I I make it a point sometimes. I get my kids in my videos too sometimes, but
Oh,
that's
are
the
your
whole
kids
point.
musical?
My daughter she sings really well. She plays the harmonium. She does kirtan,
Oh,
and
nice.
she plays the violin, and she was in Princeton Choir, which is a singing group at Princeton University. Um,
Very
and
talented.
I'm really, but she's not as outgoing yet. Hopefully, at some point, she can, she can record, but she has a great sense of music. She has,
Yeah.
she sings in key, and I think she has a great voice. Hopefully, at some point, she will develop that. I would love to see that. And my son is more of a percussionist. He plays tabla a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but he's not as disciplined as my daughter.
Oh, that's a boy thing.
It really is, yeah, yeah.
So the gift,
But yeah,
the
that's the
musical
whole
gift
point. I
from
mean,
your
I'm doing
grandfather.
this just to. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was saying the musical gift from your grandfather carries on then.
Yeah. Yes, carries on. Absolutely, absolutely. And and I have that flexibility too. I don't have to be under any pressure that I have to book gigs. I have to do this. I have to go there to travel. I have to do this. I don't have any of that. I go fishing on the weekends with my son. I just have fun. You
You
know,
enjoy yourself, don't you? You
I have
enjoy.
that flexibility of to be able to spend time with my kids, and that's a gift that you can't take away. Nobody can take that away. So. I mean, there are good things. Obviously, I would love to. If I had all the time, I would love to just do music. But I, you know, but then you're traveling so much that you miss out on a lot of the um, milestones. That you would have
Yeah,
in terms of birthdays and things like that, and graduations, all that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah.
those are things that I'm a family man.
I
I
can tell.
love spending time with the family. I love spending time with my kids. I love going to their games. In fact, I coach, my son's basketball team, and
Yay.
I,
Wow.
yeah, I try to, I try to coach as much as I can, but I love that, I love these little things, and I
Yeah,
enjoy it. So,
that's amazing.
but
You
while
sound.
doing all of those things, if I can release a few tracks here and there, why not?
Yeah, please do that as well.
Yeah.
Talking about now music these days, what do you think about the current music scene and the way it's developing over the last couple of years?
Um, I think it's a very short-lived
Hmm.
music these days. I think there's a lot of music. There's so much music, and it's a scrolling generation, right? Very short-lived, you know,
Yeah,
it's a very short-lived attention span, right? Short attention span,
yeah,
and um, having a lot of music coming in, it's a good thing. Competition is a good thing, but a lot of the times what happens is a lot of the good music gets you know hidden in all this all this you know not so good music for a lack of a better word. um, yeah, so but there are some good artists that will have longevity no matter what, like Karan Aujla, Shook, and all these guys.
yes,
Uh, they're consistently making good songs, but even with them, a lot of tracks are short lived. You know, um, but hopefully good artists come forward and carry on. And I'm just hoping for some good music. There's a lot of good artists and a lot of variety and diversity in lyrics and vocals, and a lot of the stuff that's coming out, which was not very popular back in the day. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but Tiger Style was producing rap, Punjabi rap, long, long time ago,
yeah.
right? Or like Son of a Sardar, I don't know if you remember that,
I remember. Yeah,
but now that stuff is very popular,
it
and
is.
it's all because of the music gets refined over time, and the lyrics get refined, and which is a good thing, you know. But at the same time, I mean, it's all scrolling generation. I mean, it doesn't last very long. There's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of music coming out. It's very, in my opinion, I think it's very hard to sustain as an artist in today's time. You know, to be able
Yeah.
to make a living and you know, make money from it, and to be able to provide for yourself and all that kind of stuff. I do think it's challenging these days, much more challenging than it was,
I was
because there's so much. There's so much,
There
so
is.
much.
I was having a similar conversation in another podcast, and I was just saying, I don't know if you agree, but you are right. There is different sounds and varieties, but I also find that, like if you had heard Bhajan Manji's voice, you knew that was her Bhajan Man's voice. If you heard your voice, you knew straight away it was your tone. So like there was a distinction between each
Yeah,
artist. Now everything sounds very similar or same really, the same style of music, and it's not sustainable. So I think do you think that's missing? That old school vibe is missing?
yeah, yeah. Everything is, you know, all the tracks that are from, you know, at least from a lot of the younger generation that's coming out, all based on, you know, hip hop. It's all hip hop beats.
Yeah.
You know, there's very little algoze, there's very little harmonia, there's very
Mm.
little Punjabi taraj, there's very little, tolki, there's very little toll. It's all hip hop. It's all rap. It's all, you know, uh, it's all hip hop stuff. It's, you know, from lyrics to bass line to the drum patterns to lyrics to the vocals. Everything is all, it's all hip hop.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, a lot of the, you know, some artists, you know, like JK and
Mm.
Ralph Sapera and them, you know, they're keeping the whole old school vibe alive. And a lot of the stuff, obviously, that's Jazzy B has been coming out consistently.
Mm.
Uh, you know, he's doing a lot of just keeping the cultural vibe alive, um, from, from a folk perspective.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, that you can't blame the younger generation either, because that's what they like, that's what they listen to. You know.
So you mentioned scrolling and not having that attention span. So what do you think of social media? Do you think it's a benefit having a social media or think it's a disadvantage?
Um, I think it's definitely an advantage, you know. Um, but then there's always it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because it's uh, it's it's good for up and coming young artists, because a lot of the times in the past you could not have your music be heard if it wasn't, you know, being released by a major label, right? You needed that, right? But these
Right.
days, you know, you don't need any of that. You know, you don't need, you can just create an account on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, and just release your stuff, and if it resonates with people,
Yeah.
you don't need those, you know, you don't need those expensive deals, you know, with record labels. You can just have your music heard, you know, um,
Mm.
to the mass, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, as I mentioned before, because there is all this so much crap, also there's so much garbage,
Yeah.
and it just, you know, it hides a lot of the, you know, it obscures a lot of the good stuff,
It's
right?
almost like white noise, right? It's
Yeah,
just there.
yeah, it's crazy. It's so much stuff out there, so much garbage, man. There's no quality control, you know.
That's
So, and
it.
on one hand, it's a good thing that an artist, a singer,
Yeah.
um, a writer or poet sitting in an obscure pind in Pakistan somewhere or Punjab somewhere,
Mm. Mm.
and just uploads a small clip, and it just goes viral and everybody's listening to it. Everybody knows his name now, right? And then, you know, at the same time, you know, there's so much other stuff that's coming out, and and then you're trying to find something good, trying to see if you can scroll to see if there's something meaningful that you can listen to. Maybe Punjabi poetry. Um, by the way, I love scrolling and listening to some really good Punjabi poetry. Um,
Shiny.
yeah, shairi and from like you know poets from Pakistan, and I love all that good old school stuff. So all of that, sometimes it becomes obscured because there's so much crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, yeah,
So
yeah.
what
It's
sort of
it,
advice
it's
would
a
you?
challenge, man. It's not easy. I mean, numbers don't mean much anymore. Like
Yeah.
this person has this many followers, or this person, this person has how many views and all that kind of stuff. That's it doesn't mean much anymore.
What sort of
We
advice?
sold tapes. You remember back in the day, we were
There was
selling.
tapes, there was CDs, there was MP3 players, and then we had burning CDs.
My first album was released on VIP Records, and I think
Yes, yeah,
we had
yeah.
we had printed out tapes. We were selling tapes in stores and then CDs. My second album was, I mean, obviously the first album was CDs as well later
Yeah.
on, and there were vinyls as well.
Wow.
And then the second album was exclusively CDs, um, and the third album was CDs as well. After that, all the tracks that were released, there was no CDs. It was
From
all
CDs.
MP3s or whatever you want to call them.
I had a CD with gum on it and a heart next to it in my black marker pen that I'd burnt. I'm not gonna lie. Then I
Yes.
had Gama too. And then
God
we
bless.
so just some memories just stay with you, right? Because I know I keep talking about Gama, but that is one of my childhood memories that I have. My sister has. It's a song that my sister would sing. I would sing in the house. My mom would even sing. Even now, my daughter sings Gama. So I
Oh,
think some tracks just
it
stay.
transcends generations, right?
Yes, this is it. And I think, like you said something earlier about Tiger Style, Son of Sardar as well. That kind of music was very early for its time. So if you listen to it now, it still sounds relevant. And I think Gava kind of hit that. I know it was huge back then, it still is huge. But if I was to play that to somebody that's never heard Gava, which is very rare, but if I did, I think it still sounds so now it's so relevant, it's so new, and I think that's the magic of Gamma, and which is still in Still Yours. I
Yeah,
think Still Yours still has that.
yeah, and that's the magic of Tiger Style. They were so ahead of their time.
They were, they
If
were.
you listen to the pattern, the way they were, the classy hip hop beat, and with the um, with the with the folk elements in the back, with the tumbi playing in the back and the harmonium, it just, that style of music still exists. These young producers are still trying to emulate that.
I agree. And I do agree the point about Tiger Style and their music, but I also have to make a point of your of ours and Gunjanji's of ours because it's so raw and it's so, unique as well. You don't try and copy anybody, you don't try and make it modern, you just are you, I think. And that's what makes it so special.
Right, right. Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, uh, if you make art for yourself first before anyone else,
Yeah,
um, people will see it. People will recognize that, and that's why you
absolutely.
have to be honest with yourself. I'll try. Trust me, I've tried not being honest with myself.
It didn't work out.
It doesn't work out. But you know what? You do what you do. You just create. You just work and you just make,
You
and
just
the
do.
rest is up to the public, and how they perceive it and how they see it and how they react to it. You just do you. That's it. You just stay focused. That's the
I
goal.
have a quick fire round for you, Bikramji. I know there's a bit of a lag when we're talking because I think I'm talking over you sometimes, so I do apologize. Um, but I'm going to try and do a quick fire round with you. So no cheating, no taking your time. So
Terrible at that. I'm terrible.
should we go for it? Okay. Studio or stage?
Stage.
Garma or still yours?
Come on.
Old school or new school Punjabi music?
Also,
What are you
any
listening
day.
to?
Also,
Oh no, it's a silly question, really. What artist are you listening to right now?
Karan Aujla.
What song of yours everyone must hear?
Papi Munna Lana.
Okay, I was gonna say you're taking too long, but yeah, you got that. Okay, cool. I'll give you that one. Before we wrap up, um, what other music is coming from you? What can we hear from
That's a
Bikram
great
Singh?
question. So I got together with DDS VK
Oh,
and
okay.
uh, the producer of Ek Jindagi with Ishmi,
Yes, yes, yes.
and we wanted to bring back that old school garage, like the old
Yes,
school 2003 time with Mets
yes.
and
I was
Tricks
gonna
and
say.
IDB and all
Yeah,
that Sahara. Those guys.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So we did a track um, together, me, DDS, and Mets and Tricks. We shot a
Amazing.
video. Yeah, we shot the video in London, and that song is coming out in, I believe, end of April.
Okay,
Around
so
that.
we've got an exclusive there. Thank you.
And then after that, I have few other songs that are in the pipeline. One of them is with kind of like a Latin vibe, and the other one is kind of like a pop with production by Roach Killer from UK. So
Yes.
I have, I'm slowly working on things, and you know, um, you'll definitely see at least maybe 3 or 4 songs this year from me.
That actually really excites me because you've just mentioned Mets and Tricks and you've mentioned
Yeah,
Killer, and they're both
great lads,
are from
great lads.
yeah, literally. And then that literally takes me back to like 2004, 2003, 5 time of sort of
Yeah,
era. And they all have very distinctive sounds. So, you know what, we were just talking about how you don't recognize music these days. But definitely when you hear Roach Killer, you recognize his sound. You recognize yourself, obviously. And then obviously Mets and Tricks. So that is really getting me excited because that's a sound that I want to hear. I think everybody else wants to hear. So
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah. It's a great song. It's a very very simple song.
Mm.
The production is incredible. The video came out really really nice. It's such an incredible time working together with Mets and Tricks and everybody, and Akash the video. It was just great vibes.
The
Had
energy.
an incredible
Mm.
time. Made some amazing memories there. So I'm looking forward to releasing that in April.
Yeah, we're really looking. I'm excited. I think all my audiences will be excited. So thank you so much. Honestly, Bikramji, it's been a
Thank you.
pleasure to have you on your podcast. So from Ghana to American
Thank you.
Jugni, to Still Yours, and even balancing a life as a lawyer as the journey that you're on, it's very inspiring. I've loved having you and having this honest conversation with you because I love the fact that you're so passionate not just about your work, your musical journey, but I love the fact that you're a dad and you love being a dad and you're making a point of staying part of your children's life. You're putting them as priority. I think that's really, really special, especially as a daughter. I really appreciate that. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words, and I really really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. It was an incredible experience, and thank you for supporting me for all these years.
No, no, thank you for
Yeah.
giving us such great music, and we're really looking forward. to hearing more of Bikram sing because we'll never get enough of him. So thank you. सत श्री अकाल
Okay,
जी
Meenu ji. Sat Sri Akal.